We received a listener question from John and Nina in Duluth. It says, we're planning to make an offer on our first home and heard the words due diligence. Exactly what does that mean and how does it affect our purchase? Those of you who may have purchased a home during the pandemic, you might not even recognize the words due diligence because the market inventory was so tight that in most cases, buyers did not even have a due diligence period. A due diligence period is a number of days, typically in Georgia, it's been either 7 days or 10 days, during which a buyer can do their due diligence on a property here in Metro Atlanta. That means do a home inspection, have somebody come out and check for radon, do any structural inspections, have an electrician come out or an HVAC company come out, or get estimates on carpets, things like that. You have an opportunity to do a due diligence. In Georgia, a due diligence period gives the buyer the right to inspect and gives the buyer the right to terminate for any reason or for no reason at all during that due diligence period. So let me say that one more time. If you have a 10-day due diligence period in your purchase agreement with a seller, your buyer, and sellers need to pay attention to this as well, then you have 10 days during which you can do whatever tests and inspections on the property you desire, provided you're not invasive, you don't cut holes in the walls, things like that. If you wanted to do that, you would have to get the seller's permission to do that, or as a seller, you would have to give your permission for someone to do that. And during that 10-day period, a buyer can terminate for any reason because they found something wrong with the inspection, or they can terminate for no reason at all. A third thing that a buyer can do is seek to amend the contract to address these concerns. So it could be that a buyer says, I need the front railing replaced, I need the HVAC serviced, and I need the dishwasher serviced. I'm just making things up here. And then the seller could either agree or disagree. If the seller disagrees, the buyer would have the opportunity to terminate if they wanted to within that 10-day period. If the seller agrees, then that due diligence period, if the right box is checked on the amendment, the due diligence period goes away and the buyer and seller would be marching toward what hopefully would be a smooth closing. I want to mention, John and Nina, that there was an interesting effect from people not being able to have a due diligence period. I saw a survey that was released sometime earlier this year that said 74% of the people who bought a home during the pandemic wished they had bought a different home. So I think there's a lot of people out there who bought a home during the pandemic who have a very low interest rate who feel a little bit stuck, like they have to stay in their house because they bought it just as fast as they could to keep another buyer from buying the home, and they feel like they might have made a bad decision. I believe that at some point in time, maybe as interest rates ease or as time goes on and the home sellers think, well, I need to go ahead and sell my house anyway, so I think I'm going to sell my house no matter what. I think a lot of that inventory is going to be coming on the market, and I, for one, will be excited to see that inventory.